Greetings. I'm so sorry not to be with you in person tonight. I think this is the first Psycha event that I haven't been to in person. The others have all been amazing, and I surely would have been at this one were it not for the fact that I have to teach at exactly the same time. However, I'm extremely grateful to Marissa, so thank you, Marissa, not just for organizing this event and all things Psycha related, but also for giving me this opportunity to speak with you by video for a few minutes. And since tonight's event is a preparation event for Psychedelic-Climate Week, for Climate Week, and at a deeper level for the existential challenges that we all face together, I'd like to share some thoughts with you on the theme of attuning our systems for systems change. As I'm sure you know, much of the discussion of how to address the climate crisis focuses on developing policies or developing practices that either do less harm to the environment or in some cases help to restore it in some way. This work is valuable, and we should certainly continue to do it. And at the same time, it ultimately amounts to a series of patches that don't address the core problem. And the core problem is an economic system that extracts all resources from bottom to top and from periphery to center at the expense of overall well-being. It is this extractive economic pattern that has given rise to the overlapping and entangled crises that we now face in all of our major systems, economic, social, ecological, the list goes on. The only way to address this meta-crisis, or this poly-crisis as it's sometimes called, is to change our way of orienting to the world, or our attunement. The prevailing attunement of Western culture is one of disconnection. All of our societal institutions reflect and perpetuate the myth that we are disconnected from each other and from nature, with the ultimate result of disconnecting us from ourselves. It is this disconnected attunement that enables the extractive economic pattern whose terrifying consequences we now face. So the only meaningful solution to the climate crisis, as well as the other intertwined crises in all of our major systems, is a shift to a connected attunement, a way of orienting to the world that recognizes the intrinsic interconnectedness of all things and beings and the mutuality of the relationships that support life. Put more simply, if we are to find a pathway through the climate crisis toward a brighter future, we must reattune ourselves to nature's pattern. As some of you know, I'm conducting a research project with my colleague Rochelle Sampson. It's called the Connected Leadership Study, and in this project, we're examining whether and how psychedelic experiences may facilitate such reattunement among existing organizational leaders, potentially shifting their decision making. So I want to share with you a quote. It's a quote that I've shared before, so some of you may have heard it, but it's from one of our pilot cohort participants, and I'm resharing it here because I think it captures this notion of reattunement so well. There's another level of connectivity, world consciousness, planet consciousness, whatever you call it, where you think less about self and others and more about what's needed, but getting into the wider connectivity that joins us all up. Psychedelic experience just opens the door for you. Once you've savored that and you've put a decision through that filter, you know which way to go. So it gives you an inner knowing that you can't do with logic alone, and that has masses of value, masses of value. Now, given my limited time here, I won't say much more about the study other than to note two things. The first is that enrollment is currently open for the fall cohort. The second concerns the study's focus. Though we've initially chosen to focus on people in existing leadership positions for research purposes, our ultimate interest is in the capacity that we all possess to lead humanity toward a brighter future. By reattuning to ourselves to nature's pattern, we may all contribute directly to the bottom-up process of emergence through which systems change necessarily occurs, a process in which the members of a system start to exhibit new behaviors that lead them to self-organize into a new pattern, such as when a flock of birds changes its direction or chooses to fly south for the winter, all through the synchronistic behavior of the members of the flock, of the birds, without any sort of central direction or authority, any form of traditional authoritative leadership. We may also contribute to this process of emergent change through the influence that we have on others, regardless of whether we hold some sort of formal organizational authority. So social network theory puts the tipping point percentage that's needed for an idea or a belief, or perhaps a way of being, to spread through a population at around 25%. And Amazonian wisdom keepers have sometimes spoken of the need to reach 15% of the population. Even more compelling is the research of Harvard political scientist Erica Chenoweth. So Chenoweth studied 323 civil resistance and social movements from 1900 to 2006, and they found that change was virtually assured once around 3.5% of the whole population began to participate actively in protest. The point again is that we all possess the capacity to lead humanity to a brighter future by reattuning our system for systems change. In fact, there exists no stronger lever for systems change. The brilliant systems thinker Donella Meadows opined that the single most effective target for bringing about systems change is the mindset or paradigm out of which a system arises. In this light, I think that Psych's mission to address the climate crisis through consciousness expansion is right on target. Thank you, and I hope you have a great evening.